Hi, I'm Sarah from Oklahoma, and we're now starting an international cooking show. And it was started when my dad went to New Zealand, and he had a friend, or he met somebody who had a daughter who was into cooking, and we just decided to have a cooking show, and we decided to call it the International Cooking Show because we have two kids from a different country on every episode that they share their own recipe. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about breads. And I'm going to be doing banana bread. And, oh yes, and by the way, the whole thing was started with me cooking was by Sandra Lee. She was a really big role model for me getting into cooking, and I just watch every show I can, and I just like it. And I'm into the food today. Our theme is breads, and I'm going to be making banana bread, and I'm going to be showing you our ingredients and supplies I'll be using. Okay, for our ingredients, I'll be using flour, 1 egg, some sugar, some salt, some vanilla, some baking soda, and some bananas. You can use 4 or 5. Make sure they're ripe. If they're not ripe, it won't be good. And then we're using butter. And then for our supplies, we're using a large mixing bowl, a potato masher, a wooden spoon, a loaf pan, and a cooling rack. And also, we'll be using our oven. Now I'm going to go through the steps. And, okay, before you start step 1, you're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you're using Celsius, 175 degrees. Okay, step 1. Step 1 is to get the bananas and put them in and peel them and put them into the bowl, and then mash them up with the potato masher, and then get the butter out of the microwave and pour it into here, and then mix it up with my wooden spoon. Okay, now we're going to go through step 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our already mashed with butter bananas, and we're going to put in our 1 egg beaten in there. And then we're going to take a cup of sugar. And then we're going to take 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to mix that all up. Okay, now we're going to go through step 3. Step 3 is, we're going to be going and we're going to be using baking powder. So we're going to be using a whole teaspoon of baking powder. So I've got a half of a teaspoon right here. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, now I'm going to get my pinch of salt in here. Got my salt in here. Just going to get a little pinch of it. Pinch. Put that in there. And then, okay. Now you're probably thinking, why is she putting salt in that? And that's what I thought the first time too. But salt actually brings it together, and you can't really taste it when it's done because there's so much sugar in there, and I don't know, it's. Okay, now we're ready for step 4. For step 4, it's pretty easy. All we're doing is we're putting a half of a cup of flour into the mixture, and then 1 cup of flour. And I was just thinking the other day, we're using fractions in school, and it was just so easier to do the fractions because, I was just thinking cooking and fractions or together, and it's just so easier to understand them if you can think of other stuff to I didn't tell you earlier, but I've got some Pam here, and I sprayed my loaf pan with that. And now I'm just gonna fill this with our mixture. Okay. And here is this. And now I'm going to pop it into the oven for 1 hour. Okay, now I'm going to be taking this and I'm going to put it into the oven. Get on our timer and cook it for 1 hour. As you can see, after an hour you've got a wonderful breakfast or maybe even a snack. And here's a tip, butter is good on it too. And then it's ready to eat.